Felicitous greetings, fellow fanatics. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Today I have a very special treat for you. To celebrate my channel's 3rd anniversary, I'm going to be looking at the rarest video game in my collection, The Misadventures of Tron Bonne, an action-adventure spin-off of the Mega Man series by Capcom for the PlayStation 1. Back when I did my review of Mega Man Legends 1, I vaguely hinted that I would eventually be reviewing this game. So without further ado, let's take a look. First released in Japan in July of 1999 as Tron ni Kobun Rockman Dash series, roughly meaning Tron Servants, The Misadventures of Tron Bonne reached American shores in April of the following year. In this prequel to Mega Man Legends, you'll take on the role of the Bonne family of pirates, playing through most of the game as Tron herself. For the prologue, however, you'll take on the role of her elder brother, Teasel, who is searching for a massive gemstone known as Diana's Tear hidden deep within ancient ruins. However, when he arrives at the ruins, he's stopped by Glide, a vicious loan shark that kidnaps both Teasel and his younger brother Bonne. Tron scouts the area after losing contact with her brothers. Unfortunately, Glide and her brothers are long gone at this point. From there, they return to the recently constructed, and thus far still unfinished, Gesselschaft, the airship which serves as the Bonne family's home and headquarters. After searching around Teasel's private quarters, Tron finds that in order to construct the ship, her brother took out a loan of 1 million zenny from Lex Loth, for whom Glide is acting as an enforcer. From there, the game throws you in and is pretty open right from the get-go, as you have a handful of different level types which you can explore to collect money to pay off the loan. But before we get to the level types, there is of course the Gesselschaft itself, where you can explore the different rooms, talk to and train the Servbots, each of which has its own skills and personality, develop new weapons and other equipment for Tron's mech, the Gesselschaft, and torture Servbots that have begun to slack off. Yes, I said that she tortures them. You didn't forget that the Bonnes are villains, did you? Although to be fair, these guys are cartoonishly indestructible. Each Servbot has 4 ratings: Attack, Speed, Brains, and Sloth. Attack and Speed enhance their abilities in action stages, while Brains allow them to give better hints in puzzle stages, and can sometimes unlock special skills. Each Servbot has different starting and maximum capabilities, but no skill can ever go above 4. Attack and Speed can each be trained by completing minigames, a bomb-tossing minigame for the former, and rapidly serving up orders in the kitchen for Speed. Wait a minute, they're robots, why are they eating food? Regardless, there are 9 levels for each of these. You'll have to play the minigame 3 times in a row to increase the skill by 1 level. And I must say, I do not like these. If you plan to 100% the game, you're going to have to do these a lot, and it gets very droll and repetitive after a while. Fortunately, you're also able to collect skill cubes, which will instantly and effortlessly level up the matching skill when you give them to a Servbot. Unfortunately, these are fairly limited in supply. There is a way to farm for them, but it's luck-based and takes quite a bit of time. You really don't have much incentive to max out every Servbot's stats to begin with, but it is an annoyance to note if you're a die-hard completionist. As for the Sloth rating, this will slowly tick up over time. When it reaches maximum, that Servbot will refuse to do any work at all, and the only way to cure it is by taking them to the torture room. Once you're ready to set out on a mission, you'll have 4 that you can do from the start of the game. Firstly, you can return to the ruins where Teasel went missing to try and find Diana's Tear yourself. This level plays pretty much identically to the ruins in the Mega Man Legends game. You're not really intended to get through it in a single run, as enemies at the start of the dungeon are much easier than those deeper within. There's all sorts of goodies hidden in there if you take your time to find them all. The tier itself is worth a hefty sum all on its own. The remainder of the missions available to you appear in sets of 3. Action stages have you attempting to rob a bank, where you'll come across Tron's best frenemy, Denise Marmalade. You'll simply have to blast your way through officers. You can also have the Servbots rob houses along the way. Each encounter will have Denise more powerful than before, eventually challenging you in a mech of her own. But can we briefly talk about the second encounter, where she can literally judo throw the Gesselschaft? What's next? Is she going to suplex a train? In so-called RPG stages, you'll be placed into a first-person perspective, piloting a small flying pig drone known as the Finkel. The Finkel is unarmed, so it'll be up to the Servbots along on the mission to do most of the heavy lifting. Despite the game calling these RPG stages, they really don't have much in the way of role-playing game elements. Rather, it's still mostly action with some minor puzzle solving, and a surprising amount of character interaction. And finally, we have puzzle stages, which brings us back to Japan's fascination with block puzzles. In this spawn of Sokoban, you'll be maneuvering to steal crates of valuable goods. The exact goods vary from map to map, but the basic rules remain the same. You can only lift crates a certain number of times. Normal crates allow you to move a short distance in a single lip. Wooden crates are lighter and can be moved as many times as you wish before setting them down. Steel crates are especially heavy and you cannot move while carrying them, only turn in place and drop them elsewhere. As you go through the puzzle stages, things will ramp up in difficulty as conveyor belts, a forklift, and cranes are introduced to make things more complicated, but the goal remains the same throughout. Presentation-wise, the game is mixed. The high-quality sprites are rather nice and expressive, but the models are lacking, and I am judging this by PS1 standards. The game feels like a budget title in more ways than one. Many of the assets are reused between levels, and the draw distance in action stages is pretty terrible even for its era. The voice acting is mostly solid, though the actor they got to dub Bonne Bonne's lines is absolutely atrocious. Mega Man Legends and its sequel, they left it undubbed because all he ever said was Babu, which is just supposed to be baby babble anyways, so why bother translating it in the first place? For some reason or another, they decided it was necessary this time around, and it sounds horrible. Story-wise, the plot isn't much more complex than what I've already discussed. We'll get to the spoiler section in a moment, but for now, suffice to say that it's very humor-driven, and gives an enjoyable look into the Bonds taking on a more wicked villain than themselves in Loathe and Glide. And I must reiterate that I do very much like the strangely wholesome family dynamic that the Bond siblings have with each other, despite them being pirates. Although the Misadventures of Tron Bonne is fairly light on plot, there is enough here to warrant a spoiler warning. If you wish to avoid spoilers, please jump ahead to the coordinates indicated on screen. Initiate temporal distortion now. Still with me? Then don't say I didn't warn you. Once you collect 1 million Zenny, you'll immediately be taken to a cutscene where Tron attempts to buy her brother's freedom from Lex. Unfortunately, he's loath to let them go, insisting that because of interest, Tron will need to pay him an additional 2 million on top of that. After she leaves, we have a brief scene with Lex and Glide, revealing that they have no plans letting Teasel or Bonne go at any price. After that, we transition to the second half of the game. In addition to being able to finish up any missions that were not yet played, you'll also gain access to 2 new missions at this point. You'll have another set of puzzle stages which play very much like the first set, only more difficult. You'll also have another series of action stages where you'll be capturing livestock from a ranch which Loathe has partial ownership of. And I just have to say, this line always gets a laugh out of me.
Do pigs fight?
Nevertheless, this phase of the game plays very much like the earlier phase. Once you've collected 2 million Zenny, you can choose to pay off the loan at any time, which will trigger the endgame. When Tron tries to pay off Loathe, once again, he insists that it's still not enough. Glide throws Tron in prison, where she soon finds her elder brother trying to get a message out to her. However, she didn't come unprepared for this. She activates a distress beacon, alerting the Servbots to their location, and it's up to them to break the Bonds out. Once freed, the siblings decide that before getting out of there, they want to make Loathe pay, so they head deeper into his base. Eventually, they come to a dig site where they're unearthing a massive Reaver Bond. It's there that they have a rematch with Glide, but before they can strike the finishing blow, Loathe and Glide activate the Colossus. The Bonds retreat to the Gesselschaft, but its weapons prove to be ineffective against the monumental machine. Teasel and Tron are both injured in the battle, so the Servbots once again take charge themselves, taking to the Gustaf and landing on the shores of the Colossus, fighting it up close. Although outgunned, the Servbots eventually manage to shut down the ancient machine and steal away the massive refractor that powers it to save the day. In the epilogue, we see that Tron leaves Glide and Loathe with police, with Denise getting the credit for apprehending them, saving face for her after she ended up getting blamed for Tron's successes with the bank robberies. After that, the Bonds celebrate, with the siblings and the Servbots all enjoying a meal together. A few last-minute hijinks ensue for laughs, and after all is said and done, we're treated to a brief reminder that this leads up to the events of Mega Man Legends. Welcome back, Chrononauts. You're just in time to join us for the conclusion. All in all, Misadventures of Tron Bonne is a very intriguing game. It's very unique in its design choices, and Capcom, a company that has long been known for finding a formula and sticking to it, really did think outside the box here. The concept is quite unique, and there really isn't another game out there like it. That being said, is it a great game? No. The action segments feel very clunky. They're quite easy as you can just tank and trade damage for most fights. This feels like a very dissatisfying way to play. For the most part, the voice acting is strong, but limited set pieces and models really make this feel like a budget title. Is this worth the $300+ you're likely to pay for a secondhand copy? Absolutely not. But as a huge Mega Man fan, especially of the Legends games, it stands as the grail of my video game collection, and I'm not giving it up anytime soon. But trying to look at it through a more objective lens, if I'm giving my honest opinion of it, it's worthy of a good, but not great, 7.3 out of 10. The Misadventures of Tron Bonne is currently unavailable for purchase. If you want it, your only option currently is to seek out a PlayStation 1 copy secondhand.
Good luck. You're gonna need it.
But what about you? What do you think of the Misadventures of Tron Bonne? What's the rarest game that you own? If you have any questions, remarks, or opposing points of view, leave them in the comments down below. And don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell. If you really enjoy my work, please consider funding my channel on Patreon. Until next time, farewell, fellow fanatics. Thank you again for watching. I have plenty more to share with you if you're interested. You can click up here above my head to subscribe to my channel. You can click over here on my monitor to see the most recent video that I've worked on. Or if you prefer, you can click up here to open this mysterious vault and see what video that the YouTube algorithm has picked just for you.